So, offices have different ways that they receive inbound mail. Some offices have a post office box. Sometimes the mail is directly delivered to the office. So, check with your owner doctor to figure out, or your front office, how mail is received at your particular office. But once the mail and packages are received either through the post office, through UPS or FedEx, you need to understand that there's different categories that the inbound correspondence needs to be separated into. And those inbound correspondences are categorized into 5 different categories: supplies, invoices and expenses, payments, zero pay EOBs or research, miscellaneous, and junk. Okay, so what you're going to take a look at is, first of all, obviously, packages are usually supplies. So when you receive the supplies, you're going to go ahead and place the supplies in the storage room and then alert the assistants that the supplies have been received. The next thing is our invoices and expenses. So you're going to open up each envelope one by one, and you're going to look at it and see if it is a utility bill. Other examples of invoices could be, property taxes. Another thing could be, an invoice for the water. And so all of those types of invoices and expenses need to be reviewed by the doctor. So there is a basket with invoices and expenses labeled on it in the doctor's office. So usually you're going to separate all of the mail and then take each category to its particular place. Some days you're only going to get one item of mail, so you'll just go ahead and deliver that when it arrives. So invoices and expenses. Payments. So sometimes patient payments will come in electronically. It'll come right to the bank account. Sometimes payment comes in through a physical check, and that physical check has what's called an explanation of benefits attached to it. So if you get an explanation of benefits, what you'll do is you will process the check, and there will be a separate video on how to process inbound checks. Sometimes your office will process the inbound checks. Sometimes you will be working with the accounts receivable, the corporate accounts receivable department, and they will process the inbound checks. But you'll separate those out, and then those checks are entered into Eaglesoft. It's very similar to just a regular patient check. And then you will enter in the corresponding information from the explanation of benefits if you do not use corporate AR. If you do use AR, there'll be another process on getting that explanation of benefits forwarded to the accounts receivable department so that they can process the inbound payment. Okay. And then the checks are then moved to the bank envelope, and then you will stamp the back side of the bank envelope with the office's deposit information, and then those will be packaged up with the end of the day, and then they will be deposited during the next day, the next business day. Sometimes we're going to get either rejections or zero pay explanation of benefits, where the insurance company either is rejecting the claim or needs more information. So those types of explanation of benefits do not include checks. And there's a separate section on how to actually research those, or handling the denials and write-offs. So we'll have a different video about that, but those are going to go into its own category. And then the final category here is miscellaneous and junk. So miscellaneous could be correspondence from specialists. If correspondence from specialists is received, usually it's about a patient that was referred out, and then the specialist performed a procedure on that patient, and then they are sending in the information on what was done. So that information should be, you will put SD or Smart Doc and then the date at the very top, and you will scan that into the patient's Smart Doc, and then you will physically deliver that letter to the doctor's inbox inside of the doctor's office. And finally, there will be a lot of junk mail that is received. This can include catalogs from suppliers, promotional offers, flyers. So, best judgment is used to determine the junk mail status, and you can consult with doctors if there's any questions if it is junk mail, but all of the junk mail is just discarded.